All right, so this is how it's calculated, and you won't see this on the mainstream media, and these types of details, former politicians, they really don't want you to know about it. They'd prefer to keep you in the dark, but here's how it works. Calculation of Greg Hunt's lifetime pension. All right, so his former income when he was in office was $364,410 per annum, okay? So that was his base wage as an MP, plus an additional wage for being a minister. That's right. So the portfolio was health and aged care. The pensionable income was $291,528. All right. So that represents 80% of his former wage. 80% is the pensionable percentage. The date he was elected to office was the 10th of 11th, 2001, which entitles him to a lifetime pension of 75% of his former pensionable income, and that equates to $218,646 per annum for the rest of his life. Okay, so it's important to point out that that pension will increase relative to the increases in MP's wages, and domestic travel is not deducted from his pension. All right, so Greg Hunt also entitled to something called the Life Gold Pass, which allows him several trips around Australia per annum, courtesy of you and I, the taxpayer. All right, so that's what Greg Hunt gets post leaving office. I mean, it really boggles the mind, but maybe he deserves it. What do you think? I mean, we need to remember that over the past few years, Greg Hunt gave the Australian public such truthful health advice, didn't he? He gave advice that was founded upon facts, science, common sense, and he never ever led us in the wrong direction in regards to the advice that he gave in his capacity as health minister. So maybe he's worthy of this pension. In fact, I've got a few highlights here from Greg Hunt over the past couple of years. I'm going to play it for you now.
Both the two initial vaccines, the Pfizer and the AstraZeneca vaccine, the international evidence is that the safety impact for prevention of serious illness, hospitalisation and death has been determined to be up to 100%. There was a Lancet... If you are not vaccinated and you catch COVID, you could die. The world is engaged in the largest clinical trial, the largest global vaccination trial ever, and we will have enormous amounts of data. But what's the message for the public? It's safe, it's effective, it will help protect you, but it will also help protect your mum and dad, your grandparents, your nonna, all of Australia.
So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Greg Hunt, of course, just responding to the advice from the experts over the years. Now, it's also important to point out that as Minister for Health, Greg Hunt, of course, was very, very closely working with the Therapeutic Goods Administration, and due to the policy changes that were enacted, instigated by the Department of Health in relation to the espousing of therapeutic claims, it actually changed the manner in which people in office could speak about the provisionally approved COVID-19 vaccines. So generally with the Therapeutic Goods Administration, there are laws that prohibit making unfounded therapeutic claims about products that have either a provisional approval, full approval, or no approval whatsoever. And it was the Australian government that basically massaged the policy with the Therapeutic Goods Administration in regards to making therapeutic claims, which gave legal immunity to people such as Greg Hunt to say whatever they wanted to say about the provisionally approved vaccines at the time. So whether it was Greg Hunt, people in the media, celebrities, people online, they could tell you anything, make any type of claim in regards to health or risk without any type of legal liability whatsoever if they got things wrong. There's an interesting case study you can look at. It was the chef Pete Evans. He made therapeutic claims about a different product and he was dragged over the coals. So generally, if a person was to make an unfounded, unapproved therapeutic claim, they could be looking at huge fines, sometimes six-figure fines or potentially jail time. But of course, the government changed those policies specifically in regards to the COVID jab, and that's how they were able to effectively make these particular statements at the time. And that's just a matter of fact. That's just a change in policy that the government thought was necessary, I suppose, at the time in order to carry out what they were seeking to do. But those changes in policy were never explained to the public. I explained it through MCJ Report when it happened, but of course, I'm just one guy sitting in front of a green screen that can't get to everyone. And that's why I speak to you, you speak to your friends, you get the word out there, and that's how everything sort of comes together in the end. Yeah, so Greg Hunt there, just very happy. He's also landed a new job, by the way, so if the pension's not enough, he has now been appointed as the Advisory Council Chair at the Turner Institute at Monash University. That's right. So it says here that Monash Uni is pleased to announce the appointment of former Federal Minister for Health and Aged Care, Greg Hunt, the Foundation Chair of the Turner Institute. I actually sent Greg an email a little bit earlier today just to ask him whether or not the appointment, in regards to his new position, was negotiated after he left office or before he left office. And I also asked him whether or not he'd be apologising to the public for certain things that he's said in the past, maybe things that he regrets. I'm not anticipating a response, but you can feel free to get in touch with him anytime. I also asked him another question, which was, of course, whether or not he would forego his pension in light of attaining this new position with the Monash University. Once again, I'm not anticipating that I will receive a result, but this really just goes to show that a lot of these politicians can go into office, do whatever they want, not be held accountable, and live out the rest of their lives on a massive income courtesy of us, we the people. I think it's disgraceful, and it's something that needs to be looked at.